So, hello everybody, I'm Potato Revan, everyone's least favourite Potato Revan, and today we're going to be talking about the crimes of Grindelwald. Here are my co-hosts, Kitala of House Laris, and Armchair Warlord, who we found lodged in the basement somewhere. So, Arms, since this was kind of your idea, do you want to talk about your problems with Grindelwald, or what? Or we can bounce off you?
Well, I mean, my main problem with the crimes of Grindelwald actually is, and I hate to say this, but a lot of it is well, okay. Let's go into that one because I think it's the biggest issue with the movie is okay. So the crimes of Grindelwald is ostensibly about the dark wizard Grindelwald, who has a plan to take over the human world or something. His plan is essentially to unite the mages of the world to stop Muggles from doing horrible things to each other. The problem is this movie is set in the 1920s, and Grindelwald's plan actually seems pretty reasonable to me. Like, he wants to stop the Holocaust.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, at one point he actually has a vision where he gets really high from his skull, because that's a thing now, and then he blows a lot of smoke out of it.
He's like smoking fucking pot out of a skull-shaped bong.
Yeah.
Yeah, at one point he shows his audience there at the end of the movie a vision of World War II. Basically, it looks like the Battle of Stalingrad. He's like, we have to stop this from happening. The Muggles can't be trusted.
And
you're completely correct. I'm on board with this.
Good job.
Everyone stares like, oh, we can't trust him. World War II, we're on your side. We believe in you.
Like Muggles for Grindelwald here.
Yeah, and then at the end of the film...
Another issue with this too, right, is they try to present, throughout most of the movie, they try to present Grindelwald as hating Muggles, just hating Muggles in general and wanting them all to die. No. There's no point in the entire movie where he sounds anything like the dark wizard that we learned about in the original 7 Harry Potter books. No, he doesn't he doesn't seem to want that at all. He just wants to keep them from destroying everything in existence.
But there's one person in it who you could describe as that. His girlfriend, his lover, his whatever her face is, the skinny French
whatever
chick.
She is, the
baby
really
killer.
Thin, the psychotic French chick.
Yeah, she's the one who, when they found a kid crying after they basically
murdered his whole family.
Yeah,
she's the one who goes all murder crazy and fucking just unforgivable curses him.
Yeah, and when she says something about taking over the world and killing all Muggles, he turns around and says to her, "No, we don't say that out loud."
No, he didn't even say we don't say that out loud. He goes, no. They're still useful. We don't have to let them rule, but we also don't need to kill them all.
Exactly. But Arms, you were saying?
I was just saying, yeah, for a dark wizard who supposedly really hates Muggles, we never get shown this.
For someone who's supposedly a genocidal maniac, he's remarkably free of genocidal intent.
Yeah, I mean, Grindelwald is Johnny Depp, acting like Johnny Depp, kind of playing a somewhat older and more mature Jack Sparrow.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's literally Johnny Depp is on holiday in France.
Yeah, it's like Johnny Depp being I don't know, having reasonable policy proposals to deal with serious upcoming Muggle wars.
Right.
I'm not really. We get told oh, Grindelwald is this big threat. Okay, can you please show us him being evil once?
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Yeah, prove it. Fucking prove it.
I think what they should have done is they should have taken all the threat from Credence and given that to Grindelwald.
Yeah, because Credence was the one who was actually scary in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, will we go back and start at the beginning of the movie and just talk our way through?
Sure we can. Although, actually, there is one other thing I'd like to address.
Yeah, go ahead.
Before we do that, which is just problems with the quality of writing. Okay, so supposedly Grindelwald and Dumbledore are super gay.
Oh, yes.
Neither one of the actors.
Yeah, do either of you get the impression that either of them are actually gay?
No.
Neither one of those actors make it seem as if the characters are gay. Neither of them.
Yeah, Grindelwald seems kind of like, I don't know, he's a little bit like Metro, but he's really not... He doesn't give off any, like, homosexual vibes.
No, he's Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp is playing Johnny Depp.
Pretty much. Yeah, he's Johnny Depp without, like, direction.
Johnny Depp is absolutely straight. Like, there's no way you could, like, mistake the guy for being gay.
Yeah.
I mean, like...
Go ahead.
They say, oh, we're closer than brothers. Okay, please have an interaction with each other so we can see that.
Yeah, it's all actually... What? Here's the big problem with the storytelling in Grindelwald. It's all tell, don't show. Right?
Yeah.
We get told, like, okay, Grindelwald and Dumbledore are not only very close, but they're actually gay together. Okay. Not only do they not have any scenes together, like, you can't even imagine these two making out, ever.
No.
Well, yeah, and I mean, you can be, like, okay, you can be that close to each other and still not be fucking gay. I don't know why people think that guys can't be, like, super good friends without fucking being gay. Like, it is the most ass-backwards fucking stupidest thing I swear I've ever heard. And I would really, really appreciate it if people stopped being so asinine and stupid about it.
Yeah.
Well, and also, like, you can't even see them being friends. They're very different people with no chemistry between each other.
They literally come off at times as two people who hate each other.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, right? They were, like, in original Harry Potter lore, before Rowling got started fucking with it, or the writer got started fucking with it.
The writer's Rowling.
Yeah.
She wrote the screenplay.
She wrote the screenplay, too. But in original Harry Potter lore, before she got started fucking with this installment, they were friends right up until Grindelwald got the Elder Wand. And then he really had the power to, because originally he was originally a genocidal maniac.
Who didn't get redeemed until Azkaban.
Yeah. I don't know if he ever got redeemed.
He did, because in book 8, he laughed at Voldemort's face when
there were only 7.
Well, I'm an idiot.
Sorry, I'm talking.
They just turned the 7th book into 2 movies. Was what happened.
Yeah, so
that
Potato Revan is an idiot confirmed. Man, I'd hate to be that guy. But if you remember, at the end of it, when Voldemort broke in, it was like, "Where's the Elder Wand?" And he's there and he's like, "I'm not telling you." He laughed in Voldemort's face and gladly took the Avada Kedavra.
I don't know if that... I don't remember that being in the book, although I would have to read it again.
Could that just be a movie thing?
I think it is just a movie thing. Because it was stated in kind of a throwaway line that, yes, Voldemort did go looking for the Elder Wand, and that Grindelwald no longer had it. And somehow Voldemort figured out that Albus Dumbledore was actually the master of the Elder Wand, and that was why he wanted Draco to kill Dumbledore. Well, Draco, instead of killing Dumbledore, disarmed Dumbledore.
Easy for you.
Then Harry Potter freaking disarmed Draco.
Yes. In a scene
and it was just a clusterfuck.
Yeah, which actually makes sense because Dumbledore would be having beaten Grindelwald presumably in 1945. And also, side note, the whole Great Wizarding War of the 1940s was never explained in the books properly because it's one of those things it's one of those things where like any attempt to write it out properly would make it more stupid.
Yeah.
Like
and
the
at
idea
one
there was
time, the writer herself understood that, but I don't think she does anymore.
Yeah, like the idea that like somebody wouldn't have just like, okay, there probably is a way that you could have written like a paralleling Wizarding War with World War II, but it would be very difficult to do it. Honestly, I don't think J.K. Rowling is like a good enough writer to do it.
Yeah, but the thing about it, if you're writing the Wizarding War with World War II, then you have the problem of they have magic, and they could have easily stopped World War II because the Minister of Magic in the UK answers to the Queen and the British Prime Minister.
Well, I mean, not necessarily, and this is simply because presumably if, I don't know, Hitler and Grindelwald were like best buddies, presumably they would have, Grindelwald would have some way to like keep, Albus Dumbledore basically from apparating into the Reich Chancellery and murking Hitler.
Yeah.
Well, and presumably the reason they didn't stop the Wizarding War, my guess would be they didn't because they were too busy fighting their own war and killing each other.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, and also, like, okay, so I guess I want to kind of take back my earlier comment about J.K. Rowling not being a good enough writer to write it. She's not a good enough military writer to make that work. Because to do that properly, you would need to like do a military historical fiction deeply enmeshed with the world of Harry Potter, which is
sure. Okay,
that would be a massive undertaking.
Yeah, Downton Abbey, when they were doing Downton Abbey and they were doing like war scenes and the Irish uprising and things like that, they went to painstaking lengths to get everything correct, and the level of fear in Mary's voice when she was in Dublin, and she was phoning back, and she was hiding her accent. She was like, because if she had spoken with an upper class British accent, she would have been dispatched by the people like having a revolution behind her. And like the author, she never even put in the simplest bit of work. She's just like, so I think before we get into all this, we need to go back to the beginning and start off with the dumbest scene ever, the Thestrals.
Oh God!
Right. Yes. Let's do this chronologically because not only is this movie very slow, but it's also just a moving canon violation.
It's a clusterfuck of what the fuck is what it is.
Yeah, so it starts off on a stormy night in Wizarding Town, some part of, I want to say, London.
Well, it was in the United States. For some reason, they were in the US.
Yeah, and J.K. Rowling created this very...
film, actually, Kitala, because she hasn't seen the first one. At the end of the first film, they were in New York, and they had caught Grindelwald in New York.
Yeah.
And so they were still in New York. For some reason, they kept him there. And
which is dumb. Also, for some bizarre reason, Newt Scamander, of all people, is on a no-travel list.
After being in America already on a boat with documents.
I love how wizards in the 1920s have a no-travel list. Like, they're really ahead of the times.
I know.
Well, I just can't get over the Newt Scamander, of all people, being on a no-travel list when he is the Wizarding world's foremost documentation.
Not at this point.
Like, it's just stupid. Like, even at that time, he was documenting all of their strange creatures, right? Like, even though he wasn't the world's foremost expert on them, he was still working for the freaking...
Yeah, there's this entire bizarre subplot with like Newt being in trouble with the wizard police.
Yeah.
And the wizard police are apparently the Gestapo.
Yeah, they just have like so much ability to just like track people down and oppress them.
But guys, have any of you noticed anything glaringly missing from this whole thing? The wizard fashion?
Oh yeah. Like nobody, and I mean nobody, does it. Like
wizard fashion at all.
Yeah, even during Harry Potter's time, Harry Potter could tell, like, even as a presumably muggle child, he could tell the difference between a wizard and a non-wizard just by looking at their clothes, right? Like, it's so stupid.
Yeah, because wizards would just dress, I mean, they'd wear, wizard clothing.
They wear whatever they want, and boo-hoo to anyone who has an issue with it, basically.
So, the Testrals then take Grumblebuild off, and he's flying off over this river. Now, the Statue of Secrecy and Wizards being top secret apparently doesn't exist in this movie because they do things everywhere.
Yeah. Like, they don't even try to hide what they're doing.
Not in the least. So, they're flying along, and they're flying over the river, and all of a sudden, Grindelwald, who's this century's Voldemort, managed to get a change of position with someone else, change his face, change his clothes, and get his wand to someone else. All was under capture of at least 100 Aurors, I would say.
Again, this entire thing is fucking stupid.
Yes,
yeah, he just effortlessly breaks out of prison.
Yeah, and then he turns the guy who they cut his tongue out for some reason because they apparently forgot that like wandless magic and things like that wasn't a thing.
Well, and they also seem to have forgotten that many wizards can just, I don't know, cast spells without saying the words. Like, unspoken spells, even with wands, were a thing. Like, even in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Because remember, Snape was actually trying to teach Harry Potter at one point how to cast spells without saying anything.
Yeah.
And how to counter without saying anything. He wasn't happy about being asked to do it, by the way.
No. Snape generally wasn't a happy person. He needed a hug.
I mean,
I'd agree with that.
As usual, Snape was not happy with anything having to do with Harry Potter for excellent reasons.
Yeah. It's like, and Dumbledore is there and he's like, oh, hey, Snape, I have an idea. What now? It involves Mr. Potter. Oh, yes, what? So...
I mean, James Potter was fucking Hellspawn with the capital H, so...
Yeah,
it's like stop making me be Harry's substitute dad because he already had a dad.
So back to the movie because we love tangents. So they then switch him out, and then it cuts over to Newt Scamander, who's playing with this little tree snot for some reason, and apparently when its button rolls off, it rolls along the floor really, really loud.
Yeah, like why?
I don't know. A button is apparently really freaking loud on carpet when you have no ears. But anyway, that's a topic for another day.
But I digress.
We then learned that he's in the Ministry of Magic, and he was after getting summoned there. Well, he went there to see could he get his restriction on travel lifted, because they forgot the first movie happened.
Well, and it goes about as well as any sort of interaction with the TSA trying to get yourself off a no-fly list.
I know. I mean, Potato Revan's on 8,000 no-fly lists in 72 quadrants of the universe.
I very much doubt that, but please move on.
So he turns around.
The TSA needs to be abolished. It does nothing to catch terrorists and is only there to make normal, everyday people miserable.
So when he goes into the room, for some reason there's an American man there. In the British Ministry of Magic. There is an American man, and they're like, oh yeah, we'll take you off the list if you go and become an Auror with your brother. He's like, no. And they're like, okay, you're stuck on the list then.
This actually sounds a lot like the FBI trying to get somebody to be an informant for them.
That actually classifies as extortion, and it's technically illegal, by the way.
They're like, work for us, or we're just going to prosecute you.
Yeah. So after this, he then moves on, and we then learn that his brother, the taller, more successful of the two, is now dating Lita Lestrange. And I believe Kitala
who doesn't exist and has no reason to exist other than virtue signaling.
Yes. But Kitala nearly had an aneurysm when she saw her because she's like, wait, what? She's a Lestrange, and I'm like, oh yes. Because this is Lita Lestrange, and so we were there and we were like, where the hell did she come from? Why is she there? And we were like, oh, 2020.
Also,
go ahead.
I want to bring something up. This is we don't see this until the end of the movie, but I just have to bring this up. This chick, right, talks about now. Here's where the writer's feminism has to come in full bore. This is where, like, apparently, according to this chick, the Lestrange family tree does not list and name female family members. They are simply represented by flowers, right? Which is fucking stupid, because in the Lestrange family tree before this, female members were always listed. They were always listed with a portrait and a fucking and a fucking nameplate.
The only ones who weren't listed were squibs.
Yeah, isn't this described at length in the books?
Yes, it is. Every pureblood family was extremely proud of their pureblood members, and they all had portraits, like very well done portraits, no less, and nameplates. Like, the fact that they went and retconned this just to make some weird Mondo Bizarro statement about feminism and fucking women's suffrage. No, fuck you.
So as Kitala goes to sit in the corner and calm down.
Well, also, if I could add something here, we also have this Lestrange here, who is in the 1920s UK black.
Yes.
Okay. So you realize that so not only is it very improbable there would be a black person at all wandering around the UK in the 1920s, but the fact that she's a member of an upper crust wizarding family known to be very racist, or I guess very, I don't know, magicist, but you assume it being a. Go ahead.
Wizarding families weren't. They you could call it racism, but more important than that, a wizarding family would only marry someone from, especially that high ranking of wizarding family, would only marry or even entertain the idea of bedding someone from another wizarding family on the same, basically on the same tier as them. Like, you would not go below your station.
Yeah.
Yeah, the wizards of Harry Potter, they're like, the old British nobility. They would not. They were very. You just tell us by the way J.K. Rowling just writes it. There's only 20 big wizarding families. There's not a lot of them, and they're all extremely insular, extremely insular, and like especially ones like the Lestranges have serious prejudice against non-wizards. And you think that doesn't extend to race? Of course it extends to race.
Against non-wizards, and really against any family that wasn't pureblood. Like, if you weren't pureblood, you were nobody to them.
Kitala, did you ever look about people who Harry Potter? Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said we're talking about people who are literally prejudiced to the point where they would only consider even hanging out with people of a handful of families in Britain in the 1920s, and you're saying they have a black member just hanging around? Sorry, don't believe it.
No, but the thing is, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, the claim there is that the woman who was Lita Lestrange's mother was from a family who wasn't British, but they were like apparently supposedly very high up in their own country's magical hierarchy, and this guy was enamored with her, and so he kidnaps her and basically forces her to become his slave.
Yeah, this actually brings up another point. If any of you remember from the Harry Potter lore, it actually states that if a child is conceived underneath these circumstances, like Voldemort was, they are not capable of experiencing love.
I hadn't heard of that.
And that was actually because from what I got from the movie was he didn't feed her a love potion. No, the inability of the child conceived in that manner to feel or experience love was more because of a side effect of the love potion, of either parent taking a love potion.
Yeah, and she was brought under by one of the curses. And she then died in childbirth, and they then... so, we then go, and after we see all this, we cut over to Credence, who's alive and who's in Paris. Oh, and also Dumbledore and Minerva McGonagall are both working in Hogwarts at this stage. Dumbledore is not teaching... I forget the name of the course that he was teaching. Transfiguration.
Yeah, he's not teaching Transfiguration. They actually are trying to say he's teaching fucking DADA.
Yeah,
Defense Against the Dark Arts.
And also, Minerva McGonagall hadn't been born yet.
Right.
Minerva McGonagall was at least 35 to 40 years old. About 15 years before she's born. Now, that's some real magic. Good on you, Minerva.
I think this might be an issue with the casting of the original series of movies, where Minerva McGonagall is quite old, even though canonically she's not that old.
But it's the casting.
No, she actually was pretty old. Because the Harry Potter books, the actual books are set, I want to say, in like
91 to 97.
Right, yeah, in the 90s. And she was born... Let's see. We figured this out.
Yeah.
And it was something like she was something like 60 some years old when we figured this, because I did math.
Yeah.
I don't remember where it was though. Hang on, let me go back through our DMs.
Yeah. Biography. Hold on. So they used to have her year on Pottermore, and now it's just listed as October 84. Sorry, as October 4th.
What?
Yeah, they removed the year of her birth.
Really?
Well, her Wikipedia article still has it. She was born on October 4th, 1935.
Yeah, okay, so 1935 to 1991.
She's in her 50s.
Yeah, she's in her 50s. And
is
actually,
she?
the actress they had play her looks older than that.
The actress who they had play her is significantly older than that at that point. And also, her aging was sped up because in the last few movies she actually had cancer.
Now this is actually funny because Maggie Smith, Dame Maggie Smith, she's a knight. She was actually born within a year of when McGonagall was. She was born in 1934.
So she's not that much older. She just looks older because
she smoked and slept on her face.
Yeah.
Well, no, she looks older because the movies were made in the 2000s and Harry Potter was set in the 1990s.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, everyone. Snape was only like what, 32 when he died. Harry's parents were only 21.
Well, Snape was exactly the same age as Harry's parents, remember? He was the same year as both of them.
Yeah. And so he was exactly the same age as his parents, which means that Snape was only 32 years old when he died.
I was always confused by that, by the way, because, I mean, we know Alan Rickman was not a young dude when he played that part.
Everyone in Harry Potter's ages are all kinds of screwed up because the Weasleys are a lot younger than they should be, the parents. They're not that old, and also, Ron's Harry's cousin. Did you know
Is
that? Yes,
Um,
because
yes. I forget how. I forget exactly how they're related.
Through the mother, because she Molly's name is like Privet or something like that, or Pertwell, but she's actually related to the brothers from the Deathly Hallows, and that's how they're cousins.
Right, and the brother who got who got Death's own cloak,
Yes,
was Harry's something great grandfather or something.
they were all someone's great grandfather, but also along the lines, he's also cousins with Draco.
That's because
this
all
is the
pureblood wizarding families are related, right?
yeah, like
It's
marrying your
because they
cousins
intermarry
is
like mice.
yeah, marrying
Yeah,
your cousins
but-
is a long tradition in the wizarding world.
Yeah, it's kind of like royalty. But the thing is, we also learn about Nagini. And
Which is fucking stupid.
Yes. Kitala, please describe Nagini from the books for us.
So, Nagini from the books was basically the replacement for the basilisk that was living inside the Chamber of Secrets. The reason that basilisk was even there to begin with was because Voldemort put it there and somehow convinced the entire ruling council of Hogwarts that Hagrid's pet spider was the one that was killing students, even though it was the snake.
Yes, it was Aragog who he told instead of Stephen the Snake.
I highly doubt Voldemort ever called that snake Stephen, because Stephen
come
is
on,
a fairly normal middle class name, and
but you're
Voldemort was
telling me
way
that
too full of himself for that.
Yeah, but Kitala, it wasn't Stephen, it was Stephen.
Again, Voldemort's way too full of himself to call his snake Stephen.
Yes, but I always called it Stephen the Snake. But we learned that
Regardless,
Nagini, yes,
the movies started this, right? The movies portrayed Nagini as a python, which she wasn't. In the book, she was a young. She was basically an adolescent basilisk, right?
Yeah.
That was why in the book she had venom.
Yeah.
Now, what they've decided is that she's actually a Malaysian girl, a Malaysian teenager with a fucking blood curse, which is fucking stupid in the extreme.
Yes. Who runs around in some flimsy night outfit that somehow doesn't manage to rip.
Well, it's because I would say it's because the outfit is magical, but still the entire thing is fucking stupid.
Yeah. Like, literally, it looks like if she bends over, like, that thing will rip. But they also have... So Dumbledore keeps talking to Newt about going to look for Credence, going to find everything, find out about what's going on. And we see that he gets in for trouble at one point, and he gets magical bracelets that can now track his every single spell.
Also, he was taken off teaching Defense Against the Dark Arts because apparently Hogwarts, for some bizarre reason, became beholden to the fucking Ministry of Magic, which they never ever were.
No. And Dumbledore never ever gave in to the Ministry of Magic. In this, he's like, okay, poof, I'm under your control.
Yeah.
Like, the whole thing
always,
is so stupid.
Yeah, he always hated the Ministry. Like, he never put up with their shit.
No.
Yeah. But this movie's, like, ridiculous. Because Credence has spent the entire movie, every single person he meets, he's always like, do you know my mother? It's like, it's almost as if he's, like, from Doctor Who whenever he meets someone.
Are you my mummy?
And just so you know, I'm actually... Yeah, that's actually the clip I'm
that fucking episode. My God.
Are you my mummy? Yeah, literally every time Credence meets someone, it's basically, are you my mummy?
Do you know my mother?
Are you my mummy?
Do you know where I came from? It's like, dude, doesn't matter.
Hello, I'm a random 20-something-year-old man. Do you know my mother? Who are you? I don't know. Then no. And in all of Paris, he manages to find the one person who knew his mother. And it's like, I knew your mother, and she was on a boat, which is weird because if you then got back to the boat, she didn't know his mother. So she was lying to him for shits and giggles.
Well, actually, no. No, it's dumber than that. She did know his mother, or who he and she both thought were his mother. It turned out that he got switched out with the baby who actually belonged to the woman they all thought was his mother.
Hey.
And the baby was actually the son of the Lestrange family.
Yes, which has caused Lisa to have nightmares.
Yes, because she switched out her baby brother for another one who didn't cry, and then her baby brother drowned in the ocean. Because reasons.
Well, babies aren't waterproof, you know.
If I know anything about magical children in the Harry Potter universe, they can survive things no other child would survive.
Bounce down the street when he was a baby?
Yes, he bounced down the street like a fucking rubber ball. Because somehow he got dropped and things happened.
Yeah, magic just makes you durable.
Yes.
I know. Well, actually,
dude, Harry Potter, because of his mother's love for him, Harry Potter resisted the fucking worst of the he resisted the fucking killing curse. Like, come on.
Yeah, they did have that weird digression in the movie where, like, were they on the Titanic or something? They switched the babies.
Don't remember.
They were on.
Yeah, they were on the Titanic.
Well, they weren't on the Titanic. They were on a ship headed from the UK to the United States.
I think that was the Titanic.
Yeah, they were on the bloody Titanic. Look at their ages. They were on the Titanic.
Wow.
Well, that was idiotic.
I never realized they were on the Titanic. They were in steerage.
They were in steerage in the Titanic.
So yeah, they actually referenced the Titanic. The ship is actually the bloody Titanic. So Credence...
It's still weird that they had... That they fucking... The ship is the Titanic, but instead of making a northerly voyage, they actually have it sinking on the way from the UK to the United States. Like, what?
Well, that was when the Titanic sunk. It was going from Belfast to New York.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was going to the United States.
Yeah. And the Titanic didn't just, after it was hit, the Titanic didn't just stay still. They actually increased speed to their engines to try and get as far and as fast as they could. Which actually, as many lives
probably made it sink faster.
It actually did. But one of the things that it may have actually saved lives because the Carpathia was actually racing to meet it. And the two of them actually sped up to kind of intersect. And there's actually about six ships that didn't answer the call. But apart from that history lesson, guys, I thought that there was meant to be very few wizards in the Harry Potter world.
Wizards were supposed to be, what was it?
Rare.
Yeah, pretty, like they were meant to be very rare. It was basically the whole reason wizards were special was because there weren't all that many of them, and it was thought to be like wizards were thought to be dying out because of the quite frankly, asinine and self-destructive pride that pureblood families tended to have in their pure-bloodedness.
Well, apart from that as well, every second person in this movie is a wizard.
That's silly.
It is. But speaking about silly, will we talk about the call?
Oh, God. Why not?
Oh, boy. What is this?
The call of how Grindelwald summons his OnlyFans. Sorry, I mean his Sims. I mean his supporters.
Oh, God. Where they go and they have a... Just go ahead. This entire part of the movie is cringe.
Oh, wait, just this part in particular? Okay.
The whole movie's cringe, but this part in particular is cringe. Like, this is the part where they decide... Oh, God, they drape the whole...
They put bed sheets basically over the entirety of France and nobody notices, and they're like, oh, we are being called. And I bet that when the actors actually look back and watch it, they're like, wait, this is the crap that we were looking at?
Oh, yeah, that. Now, I thought that was something like only wizards could see or something. That's the way I understood it when I watched the movie.
It is.
Supposedly, yes. And yet, hilariously... What's-her-face, Queenie, the American witch.
Yeah.
Her fucking boyfriend could see it for some bizarre reason.
There's actually a theory going around that he's a squib.
I mean, it is entirely possible.
Well, I'll tell you why he isn't a squib is because he had no idea about magic. I think he's just a complete muggle.
Then
yeah, like the movie basically more or less confirms that he's just a muggle who happens to like this wizard chick.
Yeah.
Because squibs are born in the wizard world, they know about it.
Yeah. So she goes from being this lovely, nice, kind of naughty wizard chick to basically on Grindelwald's side, because it's basically like, hey, join me and you can have sex with Fatty over there.
Yeah, it's like, why does she join Grindelwald, who at least ostensibly doesn't like muggles? Mm-hmm. Did she literally join Grindelwald?
Yes.
Because of her muggle boyfriend?
Yes, because Grindelwald in the movie was going, oh, you can marry whoever you want, basically. Well, and here's another thing, too. The freaking rolling basic... Here's another point where she went back on her own lore and just arbitrarily changed stuff for no reason. Claiming that the American wizarding world had an actual, an even worse caste system than the British wizarding world, where basically, if an American wizard or witch wanted to marry a Muggle, apparently Americans called them nomads for whatever fucking reason.
Which, by the way, I love how J.K. Rowling came up with a very whimsical and funny way to talk about the different categorizations of people in the wizarding world in the original Harry Potter, and then she just comes up with the clankiest shit for this.
Oh, you think that's clanky? You should look into how Ilvermorny, a school that is actually named from a place in Ireland. And if those of you who haven't noticed yet, I'm Irish. Ilvermorny does not or has never existed here. I should know. I live in Ireland. I'm its king.
And if you're not its king, you should be.
Yay!
Don't anybody ever ask him how he was coronated. Trust me, you don't want to know.
Yeah, just Google it and comment underneath.
Don't do that either.
Please do.
Don't look at it online. Don't look at any information about Irish kings because you will not be able to unsee it.
Yeah, you'll need to scrub your browsing history with bleach and a flamethrower.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing that questions get asked about if this stuff gets out. Now,
yeah, back to the movie, but yeah, they then go and
My irritation with this is more the fact that she's like, oh yeah, Americans have a worse caste system than the Brits, when that is demonstrably false both in Harry Potter lore and just in history in general.
Well, yeah, that's never been the case.
No, I know where that came from. And this is really, really weird. It actually comes from the BBC.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, because in the BBC and a lot of British media over here, the Americans are, especially older ones, are seen as especially cruel to like minorities and things like that.
Well, you know what? You know what? Britain also comes begging to us every time they bite off more than they can chew with some other country. So whose fault is that?
You know, I love how the British love characterizing us as being giant jerks, and yet, I'm sure as an Irishman you could say a few choice words about this. I'm just going to leave it that way.
Yeah. I'd get a few choice words. So I'll get my channel pulled down in seconds, but you know. But the thing about it is, in Doctor Who, there in the episode with the Troglodyte, the American president is, you could say, a proto Donald Trump stereotype, right? And he's there,
because
and he's
Britain is allergic to defending themselves, and they think every other country should be as well.
Oh no, I mean.
Also, these people literally have Boris Johnson as their prime minister. They have no room to mock.
This is before him, right? This is before this is before Hal Johnson, and so they turn around and they're like, in one stage they're like, oh yes, here's the last president of America. And then in another episode, they say that they have a time travel device that they've been hiding from the Americans because, and I quote, could you imagine Americans with time travel?
Can you imagine the British with time travel?
Jeez.
Yes, it's
the British
Doctor
with time
Who.
travel would be a bad thing.
No, well, yeah, but Doctor Who isn't British. He's just a alien with a British accent.
Pretty much.
In a British
culture.
Yeah,
kind of like Canadians.
I mean, okay. In fairness, Justin
Canadians...
Trudeau, not sure if he's human.
I don't think Justin Trudeau is human. I think Justin Trudeau is a fucking pod person.
He might be an alien wearing a human suit.
As a resident alien, Kitala, what species is Justin Trudeau?
I'm gonna go with body snatcher or pod person.
You heard that first here. So they then go and they meet Nicholas Flamel, who's hundreds of years old at this stage, and in his house he has the Philosopher's Stone. Sorry to the Americans, the Sorcerer's Stone.
They actually called it. They actually, apparently, a little bit of trivia about the books. Apparently, Rowling wanted to call it the Sorcerer's Stone in Britain, but she wasn't allowed to because some mystifying reason pertaining to Wicca and shit.
Some mystifying public censorship law in the UK, which I'm sure prevents you from publishing anything with sorcerer in the title.
Pretty much.
Although, in fairness, this is a country which last admitted spectral evidence in court in 1947, so,
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, for anybody in the UK who's calling us Americans backwards, we stopped doing that during the Salem witch trials.
Yeah.
The Salem witch trials was actually the set of nonsense trials where that was ruled inadmissible. Like, people looked at Salem and went, okay, new rule, you can't actually do this.
So there's a very good documentary on Salem that, if I find it, I'm going to link it to both of you, right? Where there was basically, the whole of Salem witch trials was one dude. That was it.
No, it wasn't one dude, okay? So what happened with the Salem witch trials was it was a gaggle of fucking attention-starved teenage girls who decided, because they weren't getting the attention they should have been getting at home, they decided to make it the entire village's problem.
Yeah, well, what they basically discovered was that they could cancel people for witchcraft in the 17th century in Salem, and it was really effective. About 60 people ended up getting hung for it.
Yeah.
Well, and then another, there was a farmer by the last name of Cotton who actually, because he refused to admit to being a wizard, he fucking actually had them press him to death. Basically, they piled rocks on top of him until they crushed his ribcage.
I'll tell you why that happened. It's because
it was because he wouldn't admit to being a wizard.
Well, no, it wasn't because he wouldn't admit to being a wizard. It was because he would not plea. He wouldn't make a plea. Because the situation was that essentially, if he pled innocent, he'd get found guilty and his property would go to the state. Or he basically get found guilty and his property would not go to the state. If he pled guilty, well, he's guilty, his property ends up going to the state. If he doesn't enter a plea, well, then guess what? The penalty at the time was they're going to press you until you enter a plea. So they're going to freaking. But the thing is,
tell them was more weight because he was just that stubborn and like, no, my family are going to get my property. You guys can fuck off.
Yeah, because if somebody dies while being pressed, guess what? They didn't get convicted, so his family would get his property.
He decides to shuffle run across the floor, right? It's him, like, breakneck speed. It's like, okay, Grandpa, fart and you'll get a bit faster. And he's like, oh, don't go to the graveyard. And this muggle who cannot see anything magical perfectly sees what's in the ball. And understands it. Because apparently that's what muggles can do now. And
which is dumb.
And he's like, Winnie, don't go anywhere. I'm coming, baby. And he's like, oh, no, don't go. Oh, and he looks and you see all the fire and everything like this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We skipped over one really, really stupid part. The whole relationship between...
between Queenie and this guy.
No, Lita.
Yeah, where she... Oh.
Oh, yes.
So... Yeah.
Lita and... Yeah...
Lita and what's his face?
Yeah, Newt.
Oh yeah, Newt. Okay, first of all, she's like his caretaker or something. I don't. Newt doesn't act like somebody who can human well enough to get a girlfriend. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but somehow he managed to get two.
Good on him, I guess.
It's like, yeah, so she was in school and she kept getting bullied. So when she was in school, she knew a spell and removed her bully's mouth. And Minerva opened it up. She started shouting and she closed it again. Like that's something that McGonagall apparently does now. The woman who nearly died to save the kids made him shut up. Like, yes.
I mean, I'm sorry, bullies deserve whatever they get. But here's the thing: nobody in their right mind would ever bully a Lestrange, right? The Lestranges were the ones who ran the fucking school.
Yeah.
Like basically, nobody would ever bully a Lestrange. That whole entire sequence is the dumbest thing I swear I've ever seen.
God, if you try to bully a Lestrange, they would find your body out back.
Right,
like,
exactly.
I have a question for you. How the fuck did she get back to the UK?
Presumably. Yeah, it's not. It's fucking stupid. The whole thing is just dumb.
It's like, oh, we sent them away to go over to America. The boat sank, but yet they ended up back in the UK. It's like, did I send you to get away? Nope. We're back now.
That's a good question. Either they rode a damn broomstick, or presumably they got a ticket going back.
Right.
Yeah, with a new baby. Huh? And so Lita, who we're meant to feel sorry for, is a child murderer. Because the baby was crying.
She didn't actually, like, she's not the one who murdered the kid. Like, she didn't really murder the kid. The only reason the kid died was because the mother dropped him off the boat. Like, she lost her grip on the baby and dropped him.
Yeah, but the whole thing is stupid, and the fact that she was dating Newt when they were teenagers, and Newt got expelled from Hogwarts, but they never enacted on it.
Yeah, well, and here's the thing too. If you go back through like Harry Potter, there's no mention of Newt ever having been expelled from Hogwarts, like none.
No.
Like that never happened. This is just Rowling once again arbitrarily retconning and or adding things that don't exist.
She seems to have some weird attraction to people being expelled. It's like a weird kink with her.
I don't. What was he expelled for?
They never explained, as far as I know.
Newt, who started school at the Witchcraft and Wizardry, was expelled before he completed his education, kicked out of Hogwarts for endangering human lives.
That's it?
Yes.
Like, I think every single student at Hogwarts has endangered human life at some point while they've been there.
He was, yeah,
Dude, the teachers all have too. Like, care of magical creatures? You kind of have to endanger human life to learn about magical creatures. Let's be fair there.
That's like practically Hagrid's job. He just endangers the students' lives.
That's also another thing I'm going to point out too. That's also pretty much every Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher's job. Like, for real.
Yeah.
And to a lesser degree, every potion master's job.
Yeah, they don't really teach Defense Against the Dark Arts very responsibly.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Guys, and people watching. So I am currently looking this up right now because I'm so professional. In 1913, one of Lita's experiments involving a Jarvey went too far, endangering the life of another student. It was also in violation of prohibited the possession of this creature. Rather than seeing his good friend expelled, Newt took the blame for Lita's actions, and was thus sentenced to expulsion from Hogwarts in her place. This left Newt bitter and very much in love with Lita.
No, however, that's not how that works.
However, Albus Dumbledore's Newt's teacher at the time strongly argued on his behalf. It is unclear whether the expulsion was enforced or not. If it was a temporary or permanent, however, he was allowed to keep his wand, and it was stated in the movie that it was not enacted upon.
I mean, at least Dumbledore's in character.
How can you expel someone and then not expel them? It's a yes or no thing.
Yeah. Kitala, I'm kicking you off this panel. Get off. Anyway, guys, so now, moving on.
He's kicking me off the panel, but I noticed he didn't cut off my fucking microphone or anything, so
yeah.
Take that for what you will.
It's just not enacted upon.
So basically they gave him a stern talking to, I guess. I mean, God, okay, first of all, Harry Potter did way worse stuff than that about 5 times a book. Including at one point forming an actual insurgency inside of Hogwarts.
Well, here's the thing with Harry Potter too. Like a lot of the things that Harry Potter did were in direct response to things that were trying to actively get him killed.
Yeah.
So he was not the initiating factor.
All I'm going to say is, as an adult and after being friends with you fucking weirdos, when I went back to watch the first Harry Potter movie and I saw the kids landing on the Devil's Snare, all I could think of was bloody hentai.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
But
everyone who'd ever seen a hentai thought of that when they saw that thing.
Yeah. Afterwards, it's just, my God, poor Hermione. She felt things no one has ever felt before.
Or since.
Yeah.
I'm not helping.
Every time rumor says that every time she's in the shower, kids just see her going, devil snare me.
God.
Okay.
But yeah, I am never getting monetized. So this movie is
this is something I want to think about.
Yeah, so Arms, we're going to let you talk about your final part, the entire ending of the movie.
Yep, you can have it. I'm not touching that clam bake.
Yeah, where Voldemort teleports all the wizards apparate into an amphitheater here.
Yes.
And Voldemort gives them all a speech about how they
Grindelwald.
Grindelwald, my bad. Okay, Grindelwald gives them all a speech about how they all need to, prevent the Muggles from having World War II, which honestly sounds like a great idea to me.
Yeah.
And it shows them some stuff, like shows them a Tiger tank crashing through Stalingrad, and the
nuke.
Yes.
Yeah, he basically he fucking showed the wizarding world the fucking nuke that was going to hit Japan, right?
Yeah. Just normal, reasonable stuff about World War II.
And even the Muggle turns around and says, "There's not another war."
Yeah. Yeah, because I think, I'm sure at what's his name's age, that Muggle guy, he was probably a World War I veteran.
Oh, he was. It's stated in the movie.
He actually was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came back in 1924.
Yeah.
Which he should. Arms, you saw the first movie, right?
No, I did not.
Oh my god. Okay. So at the end of the first movie, they gave him an entire suitcase of these big literally silver eggs to buy a bakery. Okay? In this movie, is it mentioned at all that he has a job, that he has a bakery?
Nope.
Once. Exactly once in the very beginning when Queenie first brings him to meet Newt.
Although at the time he's being mind controlled by Queenie.
Yeah,
so
he was
I'm
also
sure
high. He was also really, really high.
Oh yeah, she gave him a damn love potion.
Yes.
Which apparently you can now suck out of people and they go...
So I did get a kick out of his
kind of weird
response there. He was like, "What are you gonna wake me up after we had 3 kids?"
Yeah. It's like, I mean, honestly, Queenie, look at your girl. No one's complaining about dating you. Like, the man's in love with you.
The problem was, the whole reason she did this, right, was because of, again, J.K. Rowling decided for whatever reason that she needed to retcon the entirety of Harry Potter lore in order to make the U.S. a worse caste system than Britain.
And let's be honest, America didn't have a caste system.
No, they didn't. Not for their wizarding families and not for their Muggle families. Like, America never had this.
You presume that wizards in America would kind of reject the screwiness of wizards in the UK, and they would not be weird like that?
They did, actually. If you go back through the Harry Potter books, like, it's implied that the UK wizards see them as less civilized because they not only ignore all these rules, but they flat out flout them. They thumb their nose at them.
I mean, I do get a kick out of how they play Quidditch with an explosive ball.
Yes,
I
which is fucking hilarious.
I actually was laughing with a friend of mine because I said to him, like, could you imagine more, like, why do we never see any more Irish guys in Hogwarts? And he looked and he said, they teach them explosives. Yeah, last time they done that, we had the 1916 Rising. What do you think we do if we learn magic? Which is true.
Now, see, all of the Irish wizards moved to America.
Pretty much. Actually, pretty much. The school was literally made by an Irish witch who was a descendant of Slytherin.
That's right. And
yes.
she also had no use for Slytherin's weird marriage rules.
No, and she married a Muggle.
She was like Salazar Slytherin's black sheep love child with somebody he regretted immensely.
Yeah. Oh, so she had two sons. One of them had kids in America, and the other one was in Aura and went back to the UK.
Anyway, we got massively off track talking about the bakery and nonsense. Sorry, AW.
We love you.
It's fine. I mean, I already said my piece. Grindelwald shows the audience basically scenes from World War II, and he asks for their support, and they'll pledge their allegiance, and then they apparate out. And meanwhile, there's meanwhile they have like a strike team coming in to try to capture them.
Well, it wasn't just a strike team.
Yeah, because they have Aurors like apparating in outside to try to break up this meeting.
Yeah.
And
well, they had it was basically more or less, if you counted how many Aurors were there, they were also all from the UK. They basically invaded France to do this.
Yeah.
Which
and this
has
battle
its own
causes
ministry.
And this battle causes a gigantic explosion. It's not like something you could hide. It's a huge explosion.
Yeah.
It's a dragon of fire.
Yeah.
Which
there was like
actually
there was like 3 blue fire dragons there. My goodness.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like Grindelwald is just standing there and he's like, "Oh, what? Are you going to attack me?" And then the Aurors are like, "Yeah, we're going to attack you, bitch." And they attack him, and he's like, "Aha, blue fire kills." Or in other words, as Doctor Who would say, in the language of your age, blue fire go burr.
Yeah, he just murks the Aurors with blue fire. It's great.
Well, what was really dumb about that, right, too, was it wasn't actually illegal for him to hold this meeting either.
Yeah.
Right?
They just decide to go after him.
Yeah, it wasn't illegal for him to hold the meeting, and furthermore, it wasn't illegal for him to, say these things. To basically say, we need to figure out a way to stop this next war that's definitely going to happen.
In fact, as I've said several times, it's very reasonable of him to be bringing this up.
Yeah.
It's not the crimes of Grindelwald. It's Grindelwald with an overly violent, rational solution.
Yeah, it's like Grindelwald versus the British nanny state, who's like just desperate to avoid entanglement in continental Europe. It's Grindelwald versus Neville Chamberlain's foreign policy.
Basically, yeah.
But here's one of the things that I also thought was really, really dumb. Was they had a Niffler, which is a little creature that steals things, steal the bloody blood pact from Grindelwald that he had been protecting with his life through the entire movie. And it just stole it in a little pouch, and then Dumbledore's like, yes, I'll think that we can destroy this. And takes it in his hand. It's like, that magic should be unstoppable.
Throughout Harry Potter lore, there are certain things that can counteract certain extremely powerful magic like that. Like, say, a Horcrux. A Horcrux, for example, it can't be destroyed through any normal... Not only any normal non-magical means, but it can't be destroyed through any normal magical means. It takes something, like, super powerful. The Sword of Gryffindor, for example, or, in the case of the diary, the Fang of a Basilisk. And that was how Harry Potter destroyed the diary Horcrux, was because he basically used the fang of the dead snake to destroy the diary.
But, guys, we've been going for a while. Do you want to show yourselves and we wrap it up?
Sure.
Okay, who wants to go first? Mary, Barbara? Which one?
Wow, sir. Alrighty, guys. I am Kitala Laris, and I do regular or semi-regular, I guess, Guild Wars streams on my YouTube channel, which is basically my name. You are listening to a part-time co-host and my main co-host, Armchair Warlord. Sometimes we have Revan on when he has time and is awake.
I live in the future.
He does, and it's hard for him to be around when we actually do those streams.
This recording is actually being recorded at 3:30 in the morning because insomnia is my friend.
And it's only 7:38 p.m. in my time.
Yeah. This is a wonder of modern technology that we can, if we'd had to do this,
future.
If we had to do this transaction during the time in which the Crimes of Grindelwald is set, this entire process would take several weeks.
Yes, it would.
There's actually I actually have a family story where someone said, like, literally they sent a letter saying that their daughter was pregnant, right? And by the time the letter got from, they were in Oregon, some part of Oregon, right? And he sent a letter all across America, across the ocean, back to Ireland. The child was already born by the time he got the letter saying.
Oh yeah, that's because the postal service is not and never has been a paragon of anything ever remotely resembling efficiency.
No. But yeah, but as Kitala Laris was saying, that if you guys are into like really funny girls, like Armchair's her co-host, she's got our other guy, Farv, he's a good little puppy.
You're calling a werewolf a puppy, by the way. You are asking to get destroyed.
He's very ticklish, because I hope he watches this. You're a good boy. But guys, I would seriously
He's gonna beat you.
I know, and I will scream, "Daddy!" And but I'm just telling you guys, go and sub to Kitala Laris, go and sub to Forfeiting Guardian. Him and his brother on Forfeiting Guardian are starting to stream more newer games. They're currently on games from 2008, so that's an improvement for him. And,
wow, sir.
So
go ahead.
Armchair and Farv are now kind of starting a new series because the two of them are veterans, and they're going into veteran talks and that. Arms, you want to talk about it and then chill yourself?
Yeah, so I'm not sure how much of a regular thing this is going to be, but we have done a few, I guess, more serious streams on Farv's channel, just about more substantial topics. We did one a little while ago, just veterans complaining about, well, I wouldn't even say complaining, sort of reminiscing about sort of our time in the service and about the current disaster ongoing in Afghanistan. And we also, we've just, we just sort of have a small ongoing series, sort of talking about, I guess, a little more serious subjects.
Yeah. So yeah, and he also wrote a book.
I did. So my book is called The Maiden's War. I published it a couple of years back. It's had very, very good reviews. Actually, it's got about a 4.5 star rating on Amazon with a decent number of reviews on it. And
yeah, I actually have a copy on display in the man cave.
Thank you.
It exists. Yes.
Yeah, it's like a World War I kind of style fantasy war novel, and it's again, it's very well reviewed. It's people like it, and if you are interested in reading something that is fun, adventurous, kind of relatively serious because it's a war novel, and this. Well done, and also I have it on good authority. I'm a veteran myself, but it's very sort of grounded in like military realism.
Yeah.
Check it out. Look it up on Amazon. It's called The Maiden's War.
Now there's two people.
Go ahead.
Yeah, there's two people I promised I'd chill. There's Mary's Game Room. If you guys love board games and everything like that, go check her out. She's a great girl. She's undersubbed herself. And then there's Dr. Alex, who's a good guy. He helped me get started. He's got a YouTube channel, and he's also wrote books, Doctor Who by the Doctor, because he's literally a doctor. So I will link you his new books in the description. Well, in the first pinned comment of this video. The links to the Discord, Twitter. Well, no one uses Twitter because that's a dying platform. All fuck Twitter, and our Discords, our YouTube channels, Armchair's Amazon link. Guys, if you guys actually want hardback books, fine. But if you want a special book, go to my Discord, hit Armchair up, and in exchange for money, he will give you a book for free in exchange for money with an autograph on it.
Yep. Yeah, I have a bunch of authors' copies in right now. They're in a box in the corner of my living room. So
still waiting to be sold.
Right out. Yep.
Exactly, because Arms is so rich he can afford boxes now.
I can. It's a big step up.
Exactly. Like last time, he used to keep him in his shoe. But guys, I would like to thank everybody for coming, and I would like to apologize to poor old Kitala for subjecting her to this movie. I am so sorry, and I will completely do it again.
This horrific violation of anything and everything remotely to do with canon. Like, okay, I just want to make a point, right?
Okay, always.
Many authors over the years, over the decades, over the centuries even, have added many things to their own universes.
Yes.
But despite how big of dicks some of them could be, most of them were very good at keeping track of their own canon and their own continuity. Rowling, however, clearly is not. She has no regard whatsoever for anything she's written. And I will tell you something. That she wrote something that, despite what a lot of people would like to believe, it was actually very culturally significant. And what she's essentially telling us by doing this is that none of it meant anything. None of it mattered. That's what she's essentially doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's actually gone on a... Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, I was actually going to say, I mean, honestly, as far as not paying attention to her own canon goes, I'd say really the other author that springs to mind immediately is like Tom Clancy.
Oh, God.
Yeah, like J.K. Rowling is doing like Tom Clancy levels of just ignoring her own canon. It's really annoying.
Oh, no, it's worse than that. So, Arms, Kitala, I think I told Kitala, I may have given her an aneurysm. Arms, how did they get the train for Harry Potter?
It was never explained because it was not necessary to explain it.
Well, she explained it. She explained it.
You mean like how they got the rolling stock for the train to Hogwarts, or?
No. In the universe, how did they get the train?
Oh, you mean it's for the train, like the
Hogwarts Express.
Okay, yeah. I mean, what do you mean by get the train? Like, how did they acquire the train?
Yes, in universe.
I mean, I'm presuming they leased it from British Railroads or something.
No,
like
they stole it.
Huh. You figure that, especially back in the time, the British Railways were nationalized, so presumably the British government would have had a problem with that.
Yeah, no, they obliviated everyone's mind that this train even existed.
They
It's not how that works.
It seems like they would be a little bit more law-abiding than that.
Oh, no. This is one of the ones that I'm most mad at J.K. Rowling for, because she had actually stated that before plumbing, wizards went to the toilet on the floor and magicked their poop away.
That's not a thing. Like, that was never a thing in original Harry Potter lore. I don't know why she feels the need to do this.
Their chamber pots exist, and J.K. Rowling is an absolute moron. But I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. Again, thank you all for coming, and for anyone watching this, thanks for watching our giant ass tangent.